Hey, Nomad Adventure Biker here, back again with another review. Today we have a cruiser, first cruiser on Nomad Adventure Biker. First review, not my first cruiser, but my first cruiser review. And today we have a 2008 Suzuki Boulevard M50. So let's take this bad boy. I think this looks great, this bike. It's in its limited edition colours. Has some nice funky engine bars on it. A very V-Rod-esque instrument cluster at the front, and some reminiscent of the M109R on the tank there. This bike is only got 10,000 miles on it, and it's in really good condition. So let's hop on it and see how we get on. It has an 805cc engine, which doesn't seem like much, but it produces 65 Newton meters of torque and 50 brake horsepower, and that's not bad. It's plenty of poke for a cruiser. No problem overtaking on the motorway, or that. It does run out a bit of juice after about 80 or that, but it's a bike that you would really be only travelling 50, 60, 65, 70 miles per hour at the best of times. Believe it or not, the light and the instrument cluster actually does throw some of the wind blast away from your body and up over your helmet up to about 60 miles an hour. I find it totally acceptable at those speeds, at the wind blast, no fatigue, and I've done a fair few miles on this now, but I have no complaints whatsoever. I really was surprised by this bike. It handles really well. It has upside down front forks, and the rear shock is adjustable for preload only. The rear probably needs some adjustment, and it's got that cruiser harshness on bumpy roads, but it's not bad. It can be dialed out of it. But the front is very, very sporty. It turns in like a really decent road bike. With those upside down forks, it's very, very good. Tips in really lightly into corners, no problem at all. Confidence inspiring ride all round. The seat height is really, really low on this. It's 26.5 inches, so it's actually really, really easy to push around backwards, even sitting on it, and that I really, really liked. Considering its weight is 269 or 270 kgs wet. Recently had a discussion about this, and that's actually 2 kgs heavier than, we'll say, something like an FGR 1300, which is, it's hard to believe when you're sitting on this and pushing it around. It really is, it's fantastic. All the weight is really, really low down. Its bigger brother, the Intruder 15, it's about 25 kgs heavier and produces about, I think it's about 20 kg or 20 brake horsepower more. And I suppose the question you'd have to ask yourself is, could you live with the less power but less weight and better handling for a cruiser? You know, it's a very, very V-Rod-esque type of bike. You've got really nice forward controls. It's not at all uncomfortable whatsoever. Now, I don't know what it would be like on a really, really long trip. If you were travelling down the motorway, probably your legs may get fatigued after a couple of hours riding. But I think as a commuter, or a bike that you were going to, you know, maybe not do too much long distance intercontinental travel or anything like that, I think this is a really, really nice alternative to a big bore CC engine. And I think one of the biggest pluses on this bike has to be its MPG. This bike is doing about 55 to 65 miles to the gallon. And I don't know about you, but gas prices are rising rapidly here in Ireland. I think they've gone up 5 cents again today. It's the 7th of October 2021, and you know, it'll be a factor soon enough if it keeps going up. But I think this is a huge plus for this bike. I know big cruisers, and I've had a Road King, I've had a couple of Honda Valkyries over the years, and you know, they like their juice, especially the Valkyrie. The Valkyrie, I think, was returning about 33 to the gallon, and I rode that thing across France. Wasn't the most sensible thing to do as in relation to having money for travelling. There could have been better bikes, but I didn't know any better at the time. So, and that's where I'm coming to with this. I mean, like, this bike makes sense in a whole lot of areas. It was really well looked after. There's 10,273 miles on this, as it had a full service history, and it was never really ridden, you know. It has got a 5-speed box on it, and like I said, 65 newton meters of torque, 50 horsepower, and it doesn't feel wanting at all. The handling, as I said earlier, is really, really nice, very predictable. Tip into the corners really, really nicely, and it's fun to ride, you know. It does not feel like a mid-size cruiser at all, and I really liked it. I was very surprised by this bike. I think it'd be a great bike for somebody who liked cruisers and maybe is coming back into motorcycling after a few years. Anybody who's small in stature, 5'6", 5'4", you know what I mean? Like I said, 26-inch seat height. So I mean, I suppose try before you buy. But I think for fitting for a smaller person, I think this is brilliant. Or anybody who has had cruisers all their life and is now maybe heading into their 70s, doesn't like the idea of pulling a big 300 kg bike plus around their garage. I think this is brilliant, you know. It's not one bit intimidating at all to ride or push around. It's not a scary bike to manoeuvre at slow speeds, right? Yeah, and I mean, I noticed that in the town, even here now. It's fantastic. Just puddles along. You're not worried about it going over or tipping it or even parking. It was just so easy to do, you know. See if I can get down here, turn around, and the bike looks really well. I mean, I had my partner up on it at the weekend, and I mean, like, you know, from every angle the bike just looked great. It really did look great. Now I'll just move this around here before this truck comes. Okay, no problems, no dramas, no fuss, and off you go. So that's the pretty much everything I have to tell you about this bike. I like it. The Boulevard, the M50, not that common in Ireland. There are plenty of intruders, marauders. Basically the same bike, same engine. The suspension, obviously, in this has the upside down forks. And there's a C50, which is the custom, which is more classical cruiser style. But this is more main street, hot rod, sportier type of look to it. And I think it's cool. I really do. So there you have it. There's the review today of my Suzuki Boulevard M50 800cc mean machine. Hope to see you soon back for another review. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe and hit that like button if you liked it, and if you didn't, hit it anyway. I'm going to try and get this channel back up and running for more content. I hope to be back with something different again now. I'm a bit more on a traily style bike in the next few days. So I will talk to you then, and until then, Take care, ride safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.